in this video I want to talk about something that was discussed in Loose Women, which was, are exams the be all and end all? Well, I think it depends on where you see yourself in 5 or 6 years time and the subjects that you would need to take to pass, to become, I don't know, a doctor, a vet. So those results that you'd actually get off your GCSEs would actually be quite important. Equally important if you actually wanted to go to university, because I think that you have to have, is it 5 A levels or something. When I was at school, okay, my mum always said, try your best, that she would be happy with anything I got if I tried. So all she could ask for, and that was all my mum ever told me. And to be perfectly honest, I am proud and pleased to say that I got 3 grade C's and 1 E. I know some people have their comments and thoughts and say, well, that's not good enough, or I felt I had the results that I worked for. I will say that back when I was at school, which was in the 90s, passing your GCSEs was hard work, and you really had to work for it. And people who actually got grade A's and A stars, they slogged their guts out and they never left the house. I had a neighbour who slogged. She never left the house. She slogged morning, noon and night. And even when I suggested coming over to hang out for about an hour or half an hour or whatever, she wouldn't even do that. And I was always told that she was really, really busy. But she did get fantastic results, and she actually did get A's and A pluses and A stars. But this is one thing which really actually annoys me. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy when boys and girls, can turn around and say, oh, guess what, I got an A in So I got an A in science, and in chemistry I got an A star. It's so the reason that actually really annoys me is back in the 90s plus years plus, the exam boards were a lot tougher and harder to pass, and in that time you actually got what you actually worked for. Okay, this also brings me back to my question. Are exams the be all and end all? Yes, because when you go for a job, it doesn't matter if you're going to work in a bank, in a supermarket, your employer would look over your CV and they would actually see your grades. Think, oh, she's smart here. Oh, look at that. You know, I mean, that just gives them a general idea. I know some people would possibly argue it's the other way around, that it's the experiences of your previous jobs and not the GCSEs or further education, because I remember having a conversation and getting into a rather heated debate with this young lad. I saying how important exam results were. That was my argument, and he was almost disgusted, in fact, by my response. And he was telling me that employers look for the experience. And if I think about it, my own conclusion was in the end that he didn't do well at school and couldn't be bothered, because you do. You have kids that muck about and spoil their own chances for themselves. For me, just think the grades that you get is a reflection on you and on your hard work. I mean, you could be amazing at English, but French wasn't your strong point. But kids are good at different things all the time. So whereas I was good at home economics, some people weren't. Some people got better grades in maths. You know, it just depends on the child, and it varies from person to person. And this is what I believe. If you don't put the time and effort into your coursework, into revising, you are the one who is going to end up disappointed. And talking about that part, I do remember someone who got accepted into the popular crowd at school, and this is a friend of mine. I'm not gonna tell anybody her name, but because people accepted her as one of the popular crowd and everybody liked her, she got invited out to parties and more parties. And what happens at parties? Drinking, messing around, more drinking, people having sex, you know, people doing things that they probably should not be doing, especially if their mums and dads were about. But because I never got involved in that, I'm not trying to point out if I had the opportunity to go that I wouldn't, because I probably would have done. But when I had my exam results, I was a lot happier than this certain friend of mine. And I remember on that day I was quite chuffed and happy for me, and she was really upset. She was crying, and I know some people would argue, well, she brought it on herself and possibly won't give her any sympathy, but I just gave her a little bit of sympathy because I hate it to hear people cry. I just hate it, but that is what happened. And actually, because I did work, I did put the effort and the time into what I was doing. Not only was I very happy with myself, my parents were absolutely happy, and the school was happy with me as well. Okay, I would just like to take this opportunity to set something right, okay, because I went to a state school, and across the internet there were lots of debates going on about state schools differ from private schools, and people argue that if you go to a private school there's less messing about and people do actually work, and that is true to a point, because when I was younger and I've experienced it firsthand, kids behind me who were talking and whittling away, I couldn't concentrate and I couldn't do as well as I particularly really wanted to do. But, and this was about I think it was about a high school, what they actually do is they actually put you in different sets. So of course at the top there's set one where of course the brainy kids go all the way down to set 5, and that was the set where people actually did muck around and answer the teacher back and all that. So in actual fact, what they are doing or have done is made a rod for their own back. Or at school, for most things, I was in set 3, and a couple of things too I did actually get. I was quite happy about, but I got bumped up into set 2. But the higher that you actually got, it was less messing about and more work. And I think at the end of the day, if you are in a good set and you try really hard, then I think at the end of the day, no matter what the grades that come out of your GCSEs, you'd know that you worked for